I never wore a coonskin cap because they are not considered classy. Instead, I wore a beaver cap. I am Daniel Boone, and I am known for settling in Kentucky. Back then, Kentucky was a beautiful place full of forests, waterfalls, and buffalo. The first person in Kentucky was a man named James McBride. I was transfixed with his tales of beauty and went to live there for 2 years. I fought in the French-Indian War, a war between the British against the French and the Indian, and after the war was over, I found the Cumberland Gap and widened it so people could get through. I established a wilderness trail, a principal pioneer route, and the nation's first national road. And very soon after, I created a first settlement west of the Appalachian Mountains. Let peace descend from our native heaven, bid the olive springs amidst the joyful nations, and plenty in league with commerce scatter blessings from her copious hand.
I'm Henry Hudson, and you probably know my name from the Hudson River in New York or the Hudson Bay in northern Canada. I discovered the Hudson Strait to the Hudson River and also met many natives along the way, such as the Mohegan and the Lenape. I started exploring so I could find a passage from the Atlantic Ocean through northern present-day Canada all the way to the Pacific Ocean. I was terrible to the Native Americans and contributed to distrust between us Europeans and the Native Americans. I explored further than anyone for about 100 years, including northern Greenland and northern Norway. I hope you like me better than my crewmates who mutinied and killed me on my voyage.
Women who stepped up were measured as citizens of the nation, not as women. This was a people's war, and everyone was in it. I'm Deborah Sampson, and I made an impact on American history by becoming the first woman soldier in America. After being an indentured servant to others, I was looking to go on an adventure. I pretended to be a man named Robert Shurtleff and joined the army. I joined during the Revolutionary War. The Revolutionary War was fought by the U.S. to gain its freedom from England. I fought for a year and a half against soldiers and loyalists of the British King. In one battle, I was shot. To keep my secret, I pulled the bullet out of my leg. I was discharged from the army with a great record of service when I told my secret. Years later, I spoke in theaters about my time in the army. I swerved from the accustomed flowery path of female delicacy to walk upon the heroic precipice of feminine perdition.
Those who stand for nothing fall for everything. I'm Alexander Hamilton. I made an impact on American history by setting up the first bank system. I was also the first U.S. Treasury official. I also helped improve the federal government. The government during my time was very weak, so I helped improve it. I'm also one of the authors of the U.S. Constitution. Although I had partners to help me write this long Constitution, I did most of the work. The Constitution is the basics of supreme laws and is one of the most important documents in American history. I, Alexander Hamilton, helped the country break off from Britain and become the independent country we are today. I'm so famous that they even made a Broadway show after me. Now let me get back to this document.
I may be sometimes willing to teach for nothing, but if paid at all, I shall never do a man's work for less than a man's pay. I'm Clara Barton, and I made an impact on American history by founding the American Red Cross and using my nurse skills to save many lives in wars. I was inspired to become a nurse at the age of 11 when my older brother fell off our barn roof. For 2 years straight, I stayed by his side by nursing him and changing his band-aids. I was a nurse during the Civil War. I helped bandage many wounded soldiers, and after the battle, I helped find many missing soldiers, which many parents were grateful for. I earned the nickname Angel of the Battlefield. After the war ended, I went to Switzerland to take a break. From there, the first Red Cross was made during a war there. I took part of it. The treaty stated to aid both sides of the war, no matter which side. My work extended beyond nursing. I helped provide aid during natural disasters. I provided many resources such as food and shelter for the homeless. I may be compelled to face danger, but never fear it. And while our soldiers can stand and fight, I can stand and feed and nurse them.
If it is a crime to love the South, its cause, and its president, then I am a criminal. I would rather lay down in this prison and die than leave it owing allegiance to a government such as yours. My name is Belle Boyd, and I made an impact on American history by being a spy for the Confederate South during the Civil War. I was 17 years old. Early in the war, some Union soldiers came to my house. One insulted my mother, so I shot him. I flirted with Union soldiers at parties to get information to mail to the Confederates. One of my letters was intercepted by the Union, and I was put in jail. But I managed to charm the Union soldiers into letting me out. In 1862, I obtained information that was crucial to the Confederate cause. But I was arrested. Again. But I managed to charm my way out. Again. After the war, I performed in a show called The Perils of Being a Spy. I died on stage in 1900. I am Belle Boyd.
Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm Benjamin Franklin, and I made an impact in American history by being an inventor, helping create the Declaration of Independence, and negotiating France into the American Revolution. I came up with an idea of a lending library, which became the Library Company of Philadelphia. Then my friends and I founded the first firefighting company, hospital, and college in the city. I was then invited to a committee where I would write the first draft of the Declaration of Independence. After Thomas Jefferson had written his draft, I made some suggestions as I had much experience in writing. I was then tasked with going to France to persuade King Louis XVI to help the Americans. The French signed 2 treaties that would create an alliance, an agreement to friendship and commerce, and the recognition of the United States as a country. God helps those that help themselves. I truly made an impact in American history.
Amazing the things you could find when you bother to search for them. I am Sacagawea, and I made an impact in American history by guiding Lewis and Clark on their journey west through the Rocky Mountains. I knew the landscape, the climate, and the foliage. I also knew how to gather only edible foods and hunt. My knowledge of harsh weather and sewing helped me to make warm, comforting clothes during the winter. I also translated for the explorers in order to communicate with the natives. Through these interactions, Lewis and Clark explored the Northwest Territory of the Louisiana Purchase to gain additional lands for the United States.
It's better to offer no excuse than a bad one. I, George Washington, made an impact on American history by leading the Patriots to win the Revolutionary War and being the first president of the United States. I was a better general and not as skilled at designing military battle plans. I was known for providing direction and motivation to the troops who suffered lack of experience and supplies. During the winter of 1777 to 1778, I famously helped to inspire my men to persevere and keep going while crafting the Constitution. I displayed strong leadership and was encouraged to run for president. I won and continue to inspire the nation. I, George Washington, am a founding father of the United States of America.
Loyalty, strength, flexibility, bravery. These are things I'm known for. Hi, I'm Mary Lewis. I'm speaking to you from the end of my journey, Fort Clatsop on the Oregon coast. I made an impact on American history by exploring the Northwest Territory and Louisiana Purchase. My major contribution was mapping out the Louisiana Purchase with my partner, William Clark. As we explored the area, we made maps of the land. We also documented and illustrated a lot of plants and animals we discovered along the way. With the help of our guide, Sacagawea, we even formed alliances and friendships with the Native Americans we met along the way. I documented and illustrated a lot of the landscape and wildlife in the Northwest Territories, and I challenge you to go out and discover something.
Let me die in the old uniform in which I fought my battles for freedom in. May God forgive me for putting on another. I'm Benedict Arnold, and I made an impact on American history by betraying the Continental Army. I was greedy for money. In fact, I tried to evade taxes. I would often hide things and mislabel them just to evade taxes. However, I was very smart. I was an excellent military mind, and I was even offered to lead a large portion of the Continental Army. However, I had spent my own money on my trip, rather than victory, countless times. However, I only received a portion of what I had spent. As I grew more dissatisfied towards the Continental Army, I started making a lot of bad choices, the largest of which was contacting the British. I became a traitor by selling fort layout plans to the British, and it all went downhill from there. I was an excellent military mind who thought that they should be given more fame and more money. I took a deal which I thought would give me both of those. Don't repeat my mistakes. Whether it looks like you'll lose, stick with your side, and you might win.
Even though I did many great things, I didn't actually want to join the spy ring until my husband got captured by British forces. I'm Anna Smith-Strong, and I made an impact on history by joining the Cobra spy ring. My role was to help the Patriots win the Revolutionary War. They could trust me, and no one would expect a woman to be part of the spy ring. While at a party, I heard that Benedict Arnold's wife, Peggy Shippen, thought that Great Britain would win the war. Benedict Arnold was a great war hero for the American side. I reported this suspicious activity to General George Washington. To communicate with the general, I had a messenger. I lived on a cliff, and I put my black petticoat on the wash line to signal a meeting. There were 6 coves that I used to meet up with my messenger. To signal which of the coves we were meeting at, I would put a certain amount of handkerchiefs on the wash line. I exposed Benedict Arnold and helped win the Revolutionary War, all while using my wash line as a secret code.
Oh, hi there. I'm John Smith. I made an impact on American history by being the most influential governor of Jamestown. Jamestown was located on the Chesapeake Bay. My governing of Jamestown led to the creation of the Virginia colony, which would later become the state of Virginia. When colonists came to look for gold for the Dutch East India Company, I told them they had to work to better the colony. My ability to trade with the natives and make peace was the only reason Jamestown survived. My experience as a mercenary, a person who fights people for money, in Europe gave me the tools I needed to protect the colony from when under attack by a hostile tribe. When I left Jamestown to scout the Virginia territory and look for the Northwest Passage, the colony would often be in disarray when I returned, but I was able to make peace. What will you do for America?
You may be whoever you resolve to be. I am Stonewall Jackson, and I impacted American history by being a Confederate general in the Civil War. I became one of the most famous generals after I won battles against the Union. I earned my nickname Stonewall as a result of the First Battle of Bull Run. I stood in front of my troops like a stone wall. Some of my men accidentally shot my arm once, causing it to be amputated. I died from wounds after several volleys of gunfire.
One if by land, two if by sea. I'm Paul Revere, and I made an impact on American history by helping the colonies gain their independence. I was one of the leaders of the Sons of Liberty. The Sons of Liberty were a group of people that boycotted British goods and fought for independence. I played a big role in the Boston Tea Party. The Boston Tea Party was when we poured tea into the ocean so that people didn't have to pay taxes on it. I made copper engravings on silver that showed scenes of the Boston Massacre. This showed that the British killed innocent people. I am most famous for my midnight ride to warn the people of Lexington. My role in the Revolutionary War helped the colonies fight for independence and become free from the British rule. I made an impact on American history by supporting the cause for freedom.
Sic Semper Tyrannis. I'm John Wilkes Booth. I made an impact on American history by assassinating the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. I was a famous actor following the footsteps of my legendary father, and I won the hearts of my audience through my charm and good looks. I was a huge supporter of the South and believed in the right to own slaves. I even joined the Virginia Militia. The Virginia Militia is part of the Confederate Army. I thought that by killing Abraham Lincoln, the Confederacy would see this as a chance to strike back against the Union and own slaves. Instead, I was hunted down for my actions, and even the Southern leaders thought it was stupid. Today, I am remembered as a murderer and a villain.
I cannot trust a man to control others who cannot control himself. I am Robert E. Lee. I made an impact on American history by being a soldier during the Mexican-American War and a famous general from the Confederate Army. I entered the United States Military Academy in 1825 and graduated second in the class. I fought in the Civil War, which was a battle between the northern and southern states over the right to own slaves. As a general, I led my army through 7 hard-fought battles. My skilled battle tactics helped the South win both Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville. The South lost the war, though, at the Battle of the Appomattox Courthouse in 1865. I'll be remembered in history for getting the South the most victories, although anti-slavery beliefs won in then.
You can never cross the ocean unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. Hello, my name is Christopher Columbus, and I made an impact on American history by starting the Age of Discovery, which began the colonization and exploration of North America. I made a viable sailing route to North America, which began the Columbian Exchange, which brought many new foods to Europe and the Americas like coffee, corn, potatoes, vanilla, and tomatoes. I was also one of the first people to begin colonizing the Americas and started a settlement which would later become the country of Haiti. I made a route to North America, made a colony, and began the exchange of goods between continents. I am Christopher Columbus.
Tall, historical, and a present. I'm Abraham Lincoln, and I made an impact in American history by abolishing slavery and contributing to minor issues around the states. I abolished slavery, an act that put Africans into working without consent, and it was an important accomplishment. I did this by signing the Emancipation Proclamation, which gave slaves the right to be free. Another impact I am known for is leading the United States to victory in the Civil War. This was a 4-year battle between the southern and northern states over the right to own slaves. I am also known for building the Republican Party into a strong national political party. A strong government helps to establish laws and democracy for our country. I abolished slavery, led the Union to victory in the Civil War, and built the Republican Party into a strong national political party. My purpose was to end some of the bad things about the U.S. and make some good things out of it. Folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. I'm Abraham Lincoln, and I made an impact in American history.
The British are coming! Fight! Fight! Hi, I am Sybil Ludington, and I made an impact on American history by being one of the Patriots colonists that wanted to fight back against the British, who warned the rebels that the British were coming to destroy stores of guns and ammunition. These were the events leading up to the Revolutionary War between the British and the colonies. This might not seem like much, but that night I rode 40 miles on treacherous roads on my horse Star when I was only 16. This is really brave of me. I wanted freedom for myself and my fellow colonists. On that road, I was attacked by highwaymen and I fought them off with only a stick. This shows that young girls, teenagers can make a difference.